Welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Sulma Arzu-Brown. She's an author, and she'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest for you. Sulma, welcome to the program.
Oh, Lydia, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. We love having people in the community who are doing great things. And we're excited to hear all about the books and your projects. So definitely it's going to be a jam-packed program. But before we get started, I always ask my famous question to all my guests is, who is? So who is Sulma Arzu-Brown?
Well, Sulma Arzu-Brown is a proud Garifuna woman from Honduras, immigrant living in the Bronx.
Nice. That's great. Honduras, shout out to all the Honduras community who may be watching, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
So before the book, because I always say books, a lot of time when the author actually puts the pen to the paper, they've had this idea for quite some time. But what were you doing before being an author? What else is Sulma up to?
It's interesting you say they always had this idea. I never set out to be an author. Ever. If you were to tell me this years ago, high school, college, never, ever, ever, ever. And so before that, I was the Sulma, getting fired from a whole lot of jobs. That's real talk, okay? I know how to interview for everything. And I got every job I interview. I was a lost person, didn't have any direction. But I knew for a fact that I love my family. I love my girls. I loved my daughters. Right? So with their inspiration, I got my act together. I was able to be the executive director of the Garifuna Coalition, which was the only organization serving Garifuna people at that time. I got the opportunity to then become the director of events and the director of operations for the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in which we were able to partner corporate entities and partner them with community organizations to give back, and how do we build the small businesses within the Latino community, and because I'm also a Black woman, within the Black community as well. So I served as a bridge for that for several years.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. So that's a lot. So I love that you said you got your act together, made an impact.
Yeah.
So how did the book come about?
I mentioned earlier how my family was everything to me. My girls, we knew for a fact how much advertising was against our children, our Black girls especially. So my husband and I really made a commitment to empower our girls with positive words such as beautiful, intelligent, radiant. And one day I took my younger daughter, she's now 11, she was then 3, to a caregiver. And the caregiver was a phenomenal individual. She understood and she respected the values in our own house. But she used the word pelo malo to describe my daughter's coarse hair one time only. And it took everything in me as a mom to just answer from a place of love. And I've told this story so many times, right? But it's important to respond from a place of love and respect. And I said, with all due respect, there's long hair, short hair, afro, and I went on and I said, pelo malo no existe, bad hair does not exist. And I said, you know what, let me bring you a book and let me be proactive in raising the self-esteem of not just my daughter, but all the kids under your care. And it opened up a beautiful conversation. She expressed that she was an Afro-Latina from Puerto Rico. Her dad was Afro-Latino, but she remembers as a child, as her dad would comb his hair, he would always say pelo malo, which means bad hair.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know what, how about it stops with me and you? And that's and I feel like God put it in my spirit person. Pelo malo no existe came about. It was written in less than 5 minutes. I felt like Neo in Matrix #1. And that I just understood what was in me at that point. And it all started because I responded from a place of love, got love back, and I was blessed with this incredible book.
So we're going to unpack this. We're definitely going to unpack this, and I think it's something that we totally should unpack. Families in the Caribbean, from Trinidad, and as you know, whether it's Central America, we all have very commonalities in terms of, like, the slavery Africans, so they were brought there, mixed with the indigenous people,
right.
You know, like Puerto Rico had the Tainos, we had the Arawaks and the Caribs, you know, and then you have, like, the Indians, East Indians who got dropped off, and sometimes Asians. So there's mixtures across the Caribbean. And that term, bad hair, pelo malo, which we've all used it. I mean, I find older and how that caregiver was so, it came off so natural for her. Because we all have it ingrained in us.
Yeah, yeah.
And even I have a little bit of it ingrained just because you hear it and you think it. And if, like, older, like your grandmother would say certain comments that you don't even realize, like, they don't want you out in the sun too long. You know, little things like that. Like, my hair would be acceptable, but when I wash it, it gets curly.
Right.
But there's that limit.
You know what's interesting about that is growing up in Santa Fe, Colón, my small little village in Honduras, the way we used to connect with each other as a community, as a Garifuna community, was through hair. So we literally bonded through hair, right? Our neighbors, our cousins were allowed to, like, practice their braids, or when there was a coronation, it's like who did the best hairstyle on the girls, and it never had anything to do with a chemical. Right, It was braids, bantu knots, the beanses, it was just so amazing. And it wasn't until I came to the United States where I heard that term that then became a colloquial term, which is how I took it when the caregiver says, you know what, it's a colloquial term, like that. We can end that.
Yeah, and it's not meant to be derogatory because they'll just say it like, even if you go to the Dominican salons to get your hair rolled, depending on how they'll could tell by the texture. Do you need a roller? Do you need it by hand? Or you're gonna need a little extra work because you have tú tienes pelo malo, you know, and they'll let you know that your hair is a little rough to work with. Yeah. And just because something needs more work doesn't mean it's bad.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, but and some people call it, like, unmanageable hair, but unmanageable to who, right? Because I grew up in a society where pretty much my whole community had 4C hair, right? So it was never unmanageable. It was literally how we connected, and I never heard anyone complain. It's like, bring the coconut oil, bring this, it was just so much love surrounding it that it didn't become unmanageable till someone put it in our heads that it was unmanageable. So we had to now support the whole beauty industry, who was not created by us in the first place, because we took that in.
We need stuff for that.
And we didn't need nothing.
And the funny thing is, I didn't know about 4C and this, and I did not know what that was until I went to the beauty convention at the Javits, because we don't refer to it. I'm 2B or 4C. Like, I've never heard these terms.
I learned that when I wrote that book. I'm like, what? Is that what my hair is?
I did not know. I genuinely did not know.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see these things. And again, you hit the nail right on the head. It's like the standards of a beauty industry telling us what to buy for our hair, and it's not even created by them. So very interesting. We're going to take a quick break. Sure. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. So, Sulma, something I'm very curious about and wondering if, because you grew up in a Garifuna community where everyone has a similar look, similar hair, that it didn't seem different, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the Garifunas they're a community, not that they don't mix with the other Honduras people, but they look different. They're clearly of African descent.
Absolutely.
But you also have the other Hondurans, just like when I went to Colombia, I visited Colombia several times, and they have a community of Afro-Colombians who never get shown on TV. Everyone thinks Colombia is Shakira, and I'm like, no. When I went to Colombia and I saw dark-skinned Colombians, I was like, you guys exist? But they're try to maintain their own. So my question to you is, if you're growing up and living amongst that only, where everyone has that same thing and you learn to blend with that, could that be because of that, you know, you're not mixing with everyone else, so to speak, that they wouldn't refer to it as bad hair because everyone's sharing the same thing? Whereas if you had to mix and be more blended.
I think that is a blessing for me, because we got self-esteem at a very early age, because we were a community that was somewhat marginalized, right? But we were a self-sufficient community. My grandma had one of the first functioning, what I consider, supermarkets, right, in our home village. She hired the local village to go a las montañas a traer, to bring all the the yuca and the bananas. The men went to fish. We were there was no starvation in my community. It was such a beautiful plethora of wealth that we had, and I'm grateful to that. We represent about 5% of the population in all of Honduras. There's a whole lot of different types of indigenous cultures throughout. The staple food of Honduras is the hudutu, or the machuca, which is the food of the Garifuna people. Okay. The dance of the nation is actually punta, Punta, which is the dance of the Garifuna people. However, our artifacts are still not yet even sold in the airports. You would have to go to our communities to really experience our rich community, right? My mom came to this country because she was overlooked for a promotion because she was black, a woman, Garifuna. She had an afro, and when she got this opportunity at this financial institution, they put her in the back because they couldn't have anyone see a black woman there. So she came to this country, right? She came to this country for a better opportunity for us. She had no idea that in the future her daughter will be the author of Pelo Malo No Existe, Bad Hair Does Not Exist, and the author of My Hair Comes With Me, just showcasing and highlighting all of these professional careers, from finance to the STEM field to media, in which we can come as we are, with our beautiful Nubian skin, with whatever type of hair you have, whether or not you have a jihad, with your sexual orientation. You could just come as you are, because what matters is your heart and your talent and what you're doing for your family to take them to the next level. So I'm very grateful for what for my marginalized community in Honduras, because it taught me that the foundation and family, and we do whatever it takes, to be that way. And my history, the Garifuna people, we were not enslaved, actually, right? And we were originally from the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We were the last island in the Caribbean to get colonized by the British, because the Garifuna fought, right? And it wasn't until they killed our chief, Joseph Chatoué, where we waved the white flag, in which less than 5,000 of my people were put in a nearby island called Bali Su, and the goal was genocide. Half of my population perished. And you know what the British did with us afterwards? There was a war in Central America. So let's take these Garifuna, the survivors, to Honduras and have them fight on our behalf. You think we did that? No, we aligned ourselves with the Spanish, of course, right? And they let us stay along the coastline and prove that we were not enslaved, because our language is still intact. Our food is still intact. Our culture is still intact. So that is my foundation. So I'm not going to come to the United States after the sacrifice of my ancestors, the sacrifice of my parents, to not do something for the whole entire global black diaspora. It is in my blood to fight and to do something against the injustices that really go against our very foundation of love.
Absolutely. And I speak to a lot of professional women who feel and I love that you have locks and it's styled up, and you can actually you don't have to wear a weave to be in corporate America.
And it's interesting because I made the decision to lock my hair to stand in solidarity with the young gentleman that that was an athlete, or he wasn't allowed to wrestle because he had hair, and he had people of a different race, Caucasian white people, cut off his dreadlocks without the consent of his family before he got in the ring to wrestle. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted my dreadlocks at age 60 with white hair, and I'm just like, when I saw this young man, I don't know him, I'm like, I'm gonna lock my hair and I'm gonna show them that we can be professional, we can wrestle, I'm gonna show them that this is professionalism.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, and I love my locks. I wish I would have done them sooner. It is the best decision I think I've ever made.
Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful, they look
you.
healthy, and you could have fun with locks.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Or natural hair on a whole. You know, another singer, Amara La Negra.
Yeah.
She was coming up in the forefront a lot, you know, and people try to dim her light. They wanted her to be that more Barbie, conform to, you know, you wear the hot clothes and put the wig on and all the accessories. She's like, that's not I
really appreciate her stand for who she is, the complexion, the dark Nubian complexion, and how she's, you know, how she stands in her beauty, right? And it's because her mom poured so much into her. A fun fact about her, she loves Garifuna music. She had a good friend of mine, Arno Guiti, go do Garifuna aerobics at her gender reveal party. So she even went to Honduras. So she understands how important the roots of who we are. And I think that's what we have to portray. Something very, very important that my illustrator, Isidra Savio, and I were very intentional about was making sure like dark-skinned women got the cover of my book, right? Because we don't see that often.
And even with the hijab, you
That's
showcase
right.
a lot. I see subtle ways of showing like the community, LGBTQ community,
Absolutely.
darker skin, hijab, but all women coming together who all of them might have different levels of hair texture, but it's amazing.
Absolutely. It definitely, it was really important to me to be as inclusive and honor who a woman is. One of the first pages in the book is a woman entrepreneur, right? And she's at home making coconut oil with her daughter while on the computer with her son on her lap, with really showcasing what we can do together. And the point of all of this is to really build the generations of true inclusion and true belonging.
Well, we'll hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We're going to look at what's inside right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Sulma, something that's so important, of course, is the Crown Act. And you're very versed in this. So, who else to share some knowledge on this than yourself?
So when I wrote My Hair Comes With Me, Shifting the Paradigm of What Success Looks Like, I knew that there was a legislation throughout the United States that says corporations are okay not to hire you or not to give you opportunities because of the texture of the hair. And the hair is mostly targeted to women of color, Black women, Afro-Latinas, of course. You know, our texture hair, whether it be braids, you're not allowed to work, Bantu knots. They were very specific with the dreadlocks, the afro. So we had to stop that, right? I wanted to run on that, but Dove beat me to the point. It's a corporate machine, and they decided to bring about the Crown Act, and they go from state to state to change that legislation so that there is no hair discrimination in corporate America, nor in schools K through 12. Right, we knew about the young lady, Zuleika from Pretoria, Africa, that she wasn't allowed to even get her education or go into class because she had an afro. So she changed the whole rules of the school. This is real. And I'm really happy that I have this tool of empowerment that literally needs to sit in every corporate office and every HR office so that when people come in and when the hiring staff understands that their hair comes with them, their their sexual orientation comes with them, their religion comes with them. Can they do the job? Yes or no? Can they help take your corporation to the next level? Can they impact your corporation to give back to the communities? Like, it all comes together. And I think that's the importance of my book. And this is why I support the Crown Act. I think that every state that said no to hair, no, we like hair discrimination. Could you imagine that there's people in a room sitting down and say, we like this law, we'd like to keep it? Like,
right.
Who does that? And I think those particular legislators or decision makers should all have a copy of that book. Every state that said no, that book should be in their office.
It should. And how do they get a copy of this book, Sulma? Because we want to make sure that everybody at home could get this book.
Really easy. Just go to No Pelo Malo, www.nopelomalo. It literally means no bad hair. Nopelomalo.com. Get a copy for yourself. Gift a copy. Don't be afraid to give books that look like us to someone who does not look like you. I have given them to my white friends, my Asian friends, because the books that came into my household with my own children, most of them never look like them, yet we welcome them because literature is important, right? So I asked to welcome my family and my community into your home. Our kids need to be friends. And I'll even take it a step further. I really believe in this belonging and inclusion, so much so that I am the co-creator and the co-producer of the first Afro-Latino family sitcom series that our nation has ever had. It is entitled Di Que Latino. We're going to be doing a dramatized reading on October 22nd of 2022. We're actually casting. We have auditions on February 9th, and we're looking for Afro-Latinas, Nubian complexions, because we want to show our community. We want to show that we have talent. Most importantly, we want to be the ones to tell our stories through our mouths and our experiences. And we have an incredible team, very diverse, Afro-Latinas, Black, Latinos, all coming together to help tell the story of the Afro-Latinos.
That is amazing. In the book, is there anything that you could give us a quick sneak peek of on the inside?
Yeah, sure. My favorite part of the book is that to bring this cute little cover to life, I actually give you real life examples of paradigm shifters. Wow. Right? I call them the women that are already in the spaces, that are already making a difference, and that it is possible. You're not going to be the first, right? But you could continue this beautiful diversity. So this is my favorite part. And these are my friends, right? And they're incredible human beings making a difference in their respective fields of professionalism that they chose. So that's my favorite part of the book, bringing it to life and letting you know that we're here. We're not going anywhere.
You're absolutely not. What about social media? How do we get in contact with you there?
I'm very active in Instagram for sure. No Pelo Malo _ Sulma. Again, tag me, hit me up, tell me your experiences. We are, once again, looking for actors to play some key roles for our Afro-Latino family sitcom, again entitled Di Que Latino. We're hosting auditions February 9th, so please hit me up on social media or email me at nopelomalo@gmail. Everything No Pelo Malo, you're going to find me.
That is so funny. And how do you feel overall just about the journey and how this has been for you?
It has been an incredible 8-year journey. I'm a firm believer in God. I'm working on surrender. I believe that God gave me this opportunity to change the world in my unique way. And I think we all have the power if we hone on to our talents, even the ones we thought we never had. But if we follow that path and honor and surrender, we can do great things. It's a beautiful 8-year journey. And for some reason, he continues to open up opportunities so that we can really showcase this message of love, inclusion, and the very foundation of love.
This is amazing. And I do feel it. It comes through. You're so passionate about this and your work. How do your daughters, you have 2 lovely girls, you know, so what do they feel about the book?
I think they're probably like, Mommy, still? It's been 8 years. And it's still like things are still happening for you. for our community. Like, people are seeing us. And I think it's a beautiful undertaking because my younger daughter, Bella, we locked at the same time. And she has such an incredible self-esteem that she's like, Mommy, I'm ready to transition out of locks. And this girl did like the big chop. And she's so fly. And she came out of that beauty salon like as though she was part of a runway. But to know that hair doesn't define who they are, who they are defines who they are. Right. My daughter, Suleni, she's also an exceptional student. And she knows who she is. And she just rocks her curly hair in a school that does not have a lot of girls and boys that don't look like her, and she's repping the Bronx. Like, I wish I had their self-esteem when I was their age. So I'm very proud of them. And this book, Bad Hair Does Not Exist, I can tell you how my kids were before the book and post the book. I can tell you how my kids were before this book and post this book. And I'm so proud that whatever is happening, the seed has been planted. Whatever way my kids want to wear their hair, whether they want it blue, pink, cut, baldy, or even relaxed, I can feel comfortable as a mom knowing that my children know who they are. That's all I need.
And that it's not defined by a certain beauty standard. So this is great. Sulma, thank you so much for joining us today. Everybody go and get the book. Just Google No Pelo Malo. You're going to find her.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. Get the book. Highly encourage it. Thank you so much for coming.
LydiaYouTheBomb.com.
Thank you.
You are so awesome. Thank you for making this so easy.
You are welcome. Yeah. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place you're watching. Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.